Good afternoon. In this video, we're going to go over this week's options watch list. Before I get into the watch list, if you're not in the room, you can find the link in the description of the video and in my bio section of social media accounts. Also, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I'm going to keep it simple on this watch list. Put to call ratio right now is at 0.54. It's pretty low. Everyone is on the call side. So I'm thinking a short squeeze. I think we're going to have a dump this week. We just had a short squeeze last week. So everyone's on one side. Whenever anyone is on one side, you can expect the opposite to happen. So we got lots of gaps to fill in SPY. We'll get over that. We'll get to that in a minute. But I just want to point out the put to call ratio, the economic calendar for this week. Not much happening on Monday. Tuesday, we get some Fed speakers. Nothing as far as news. Wednesday, Powell speaking at 9:15 in the morning. That's a very weird time. 9:15. What is he speaking for? Remarks, Division of Research Statistics Continental Sentinel Conference in Washington, D.C., so who knows. 10-year auction, bond auction at 1 o'clock. Keep an eye on that. They've been moving. Thursday, unemployment claims at 8:30. We have the 30-year bond auction at 1 o'clock. So keep an eye on that one. That one was a big mover, I think, last week. Powell speaking at 2 p.m. on Thursday after the bond auction. So Thursday's probably going to be the biggest day so far. I mean, Powell was speaking at 9:15 on Wednesday. That's going to be before the market opens. So who knows if he'll be done when the market opens or if it's going to continue into it opening. We don't know. We'll have to see. We don't know how long that's going to happen. So Wednesday morning, Thursday afternoon, the two biggest points right now. Friday, consumer sentiment at 10 a.m. on Friday. We got federal budget balance at 2 p.m. on Friday. I don't know if those are movers or not. I don't think I really paid too much attention to them, but it might be something worth noting. I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, we got a couple of things to keep an eye on this week. VIX, we have VIX up. VIX is below 15. To me, in my opinion, with all the things that's going on in the world, VIX should not even be under 17, let alone 15. There's just a lot going on. I think that VIX is going to take a massive bounce this week. I could be wrong, but I'm thinking we are going to see a dump on SPY, whether it's a couple days or a really big dump. It will all depend on the news. I don't think it's going to get down to 13. If it does, something is definitely wrong. There is a lot of stuff going on in the world that VIX should not be getting hammered on like this. Should be some fear or worries going on in the market, but I can't control what the market wants to do and these greedy market makers want to do. It just is very sketchy action. But with that said, this was a short squeeze. Short squeezes, like I said in the recaps, they're multi-day runners on SPY. So when you see stuff like this, especially after a big down day, you see a run like that, or we get this dump right here and a run like this. This is a short squeeze. This is a short squeeze. So after short squeezes, sometimes it just chops a little bit, then it dumps. So who knows what we're going to do. We get some big gaps to fill right here. VIX is way too low. Hourly was what, 89. That's just ridiculous. So I'm thinking we're going to end up having a gap fill down here to the 430 area, or maybe even down below to a 425. So I'd watch SPY underneath 433 for a gap fill to 430, and for 426 below. We get a gap fill at 425. So we get some gap fills on the downside. And we get a gap fill down here at the 418. So I'm thinking we're going to reject right here, which we already have. It's possible we could sit up here and chop a little bit. in the 435 to 430 area before it actually does end up picking a direction. So who knows if we're going to drop quite a bit or just enough to fill this one gap. I have no idea. We'll have to see what happens. Play day by day, but I would think that we're going to end up giving a lot of this back. The Keltner channel, the SPY's at the top of the Keltner channel, so I definitely could see a pullback on that. This RCT trend line is right here on the daily, so upside is very, very limited. So the hourly, the RCT trend line's way down here, so we get some pretty big divergence going on. I shouldn't say divergence, disconnects going on with the RCT trend line on the hourly. So I'll have to see if it actually does happen. We'll be very, very curious to see where futures opens up tonight. I haven't even looked at. Sometimes I look at the weekend Wall Street just to see if it's going to open. Okay, there we go. Yeah, same 0.12 minus 0.12, which is nothing. So it might open flat. So yeah, that's my thinking on SPY. Yeah, we can go up, but I don't think we're going to. I mean, I'll be surprised if we end up getting over this 436 area. I think that, possibly we can get to 438, 440, but I'm only looking at the downside. The RSI is way too high on the hourly. We need to let some air out and fill these gaps right here on SPY. So that's my look on my take on SPY right now. We're going to probably pull back probably tomorrow and Tuesday, or maybe the full week. I don't know. I'm only looking for a couple days pullback. We'll have to see what happens. Tesla came right up here to gap resistance. Rejected the 20 EMA. And it's got a gap fill down here at the 209, 208 area. Watch for that to get filled. So I would watch Tesla under, you could say 218 to 215. And then you get gap support right here at 212. Then you get a gap fill right here under 210. So I'll have to see if that actually fills or not on Tesla. So keep an eye on that. I mean, it could take off too. I mean, you get a nice little like inverted head and shoulders right here. I mean, it's kind of wonky looking, but you get the left, the head, and a small right shoulder. I mean, it could come back down and fill the gap and make a more defined right shoulder right here. I mean, this could possibly be one, I guess. But if it does pull back and fill the gap, it could make like a little more defined right shoulder right here. Then it would look really good for a pop, but we'll have to see if that actually does happen. But that's what I'm thinking on Tesla. Will pull back, maybe fill a gap, make a more defined right shoulder right here, and make a run and fill this gap, earnings gap down right here on Tesla. So keep an eye on that. BA had a nice little pop from down here. It's Ranwood SPY. It's at the top of the Keltner channel. It's close to the RCT trend line. I'll probably reject. It's got a bearish divergence going on the RSI right here. It's making lower highs, it's making higher highs. So I would watch BA under 194. Get some gap fills right here at 192. Well, actually 193. Then you got maybe a tiny one at 187. On BA. So I am looking for a little bit of a pullback on BA. That is a pretty significant run. Anytime RSI gets above 70, it seems to get shut down right here. Got up there, then it just shut down the next few days, couple days. So we could see the same thing happen right here on BA. So definitely keep an eye on that. Amazon. I mean, when SPY ran, everything else ran with it. I mean, look at the weekly candle on Amazon. Amazon is right up here at the 140. Now, this is seasonal for Amazon. We could end up seeing a strong push on Amazon. So keep an eye on Amazon. Both directions, to be honest. I'd watch it over 140. It gets over 140, going to probably get a push to 145. But RSI is so high on the hourly, and if the market gets weak, Amazon could end up falling too. So I'd watch it underneath 137 for push to 134, 132, 130, 128. Then you got gap support right here at the 126 area from earnings. So I don't imagine it will fill the gap. unless the market really takes a massive dump, then it could possibly do that. So, but we're coming into seasonal trades on Amazon, so we could end up having a push on that. So we'll have to see what happens. Also got a possible head and shoulders right here. You get the left, the head, and the right shoulder. So the neckline, I mean, the neckline could be right here, right around the 126 area on that. So I know it goes down lower right here, but if you go off from that and that, it depends on where you draw the line. I'm going to say 126 will be a pretty good area for a neckline on this head and shoulders on Amazon. But Amazon going into Christmas, I mean, it could pop. I'd watch it either direction, Amazon, to be honest. Microsoft just took a massive run with the market. I was looking for it to possibly fall right here on 327, but it didn't. It ran again over 80 on the RSI, so I'd watch it underneath 350 for push down to 345 and 340, which is a pretty big area, and 335. Got a gap fill right here, 338, 335, 330. And 325 is a pretty big area right here. So we could end up coming back into this channel, or at least retesting this 340 area on Microsoft. It will depend highly on what the market's doing, if it really takes a dump or not, or if it's just a smaller pullback. Netflix, it's getting into that 440 range where it likes to reject. So actually, before I get into that, I want to get back over to Microsoft again. I do want to point out that it does not like to stay over this 350 area. It's rejected 3 times the last time it was over. I mean, yeah, it went 366, but it got harshly rejected right here. This 350 number has been pretty significant for Microsoft, even way back over here. Reject, harsh rejection right here. And then it came back up. That's what I think we're going to reject again on Microsoft on that one. So back to Netflix. Same thing. I get our earnings gap up right here. This 440 area is pretty significant on that. So RSI is very high. It's making a bearish divergence. I mean, kind of flattened out. I mean, it's more of a bearish. I mean, you get the RSI is flattening out, but it's making higher high. So that is like more of like a hidden divergence of anything. So I'd watch it. Netflix under 430 for push to 420, 410, 400 be a big number. If it breaks 400, we could end up seeing a massive drop on that. But I'm going to assume that 400 would probably hold for now. Possibly make a head and shoulders for a longer run. That'd be the left shoulder. If it does come back down, that'll be the head, then maybe a right shoulder, then it comes down. So that's far out. That's like looking out probably weeks to a month in advance on Netflix to see if that actually does play out that way. I like looking ahead, seeing the what ifs. NVIDIA, it had a nasty run with SPY on this. I was expecting it to dump right here. It didn't. It popped, ran with SPY. So I would keep an eye on this. Did it fill that gap right there? Yeah, it did. It filled it. So I would watch it underneath 445 for push to 440, 430. Underneath 430's got a gap fill. 420 back to 400. 420 is a pretty big area, pretty big pivot. And you get 400, big psychological number. If the market dumps, I would say that it would probably end up going with it. The head and shoulders is still valid. The right, the head, the left, the right, the left, the head, and the right shoulder. I mean, you could say this right here is one big left shoulder right here. I'm dyslexic today, apparently. I can't tell between my left and my right. This could be one big left shoulder right here, and this could be a mini head. And this could be a massive right shoulder right here if it does come back down to 400. So it depends on how you look at it. This could be it, or this. No matter how you draw it, it's all based on your perspective. But the weekly, it's there. The left, the head, and the right shoulder. So it gets under 400. Maybe this time if the market does dump. Maybe we have a black swan event that happens. Who knows? It's way outside the... another thing I want to point out, I don't usually reference this in my my watch list. But this is one thing I used to look at a lot. First looking at the first started looking at these regression channels is that whenever not SPY, but anytime if the regression channel is pointing down and they get outside of it on the top of the band, they usually pull back in. It's like right here, it gets out on the 4 hour and it comes back in. This is the same way. This is outside on the 4 hour. Right here, it's on the 4 hour. Maybe I'll start covering this more on that. See right here, it's rejecting the top of it. It could end up coming back down. I do like to look at these. I have them on my top monitor, so I do reference them once in a while. I'll just show the other ones on the watch list. That Microsoft, see, it got outside of it, came back in, it's outside of it. But these are actually pointing up. But even when they're pointing up, they still like to come back in on that. So Amazon, let's see what Amazon looks like. Amazon's pointing up, but see, it's outside of it up here on the hourly. It likely will end up pulling back in. BA is probably going to be on the outside of it, pointing down. Yeah, see, outside pointing down. Probably come back in. Tesla downtrending in, downtrending on the RCT trend line, and it did pop out and came back in. So SPY's probably pointing down. Yeah, SPY's pointing down. Same thing right here, way outside on the hourly. This is the hourly. This is the 4 hour and the daily. I don't really have it on the daily, but I usually look at on the 4 hour. I mean, right here, it's really heavily overextended. This 4 hour thing is just really, really, really good. I like looking at these, especially on SPY, the 4 hour. I'll have to stop putting it on my my other chart so I can see it when I'm day trading, because I have two setups. I have my my TOS set up. I label it as TOS, and that's what I use for my watch list. And I have a day trading on my TOS, and the day trading is what I actually day trade with. So I have one that I do watch lists and I do my research on, which is this one. Then I have a day trading one. I have two different setups set up on my thing. So yeah, this is a 4 hour, and it's definitely outside of that, and it does like to come back in it. So that's another thing that's leaning heavily into my my downside on SPY. So that's going to do it for the watch list. Maybe I'll start covering more on the regression channel hourly and 4 hour. If you want me to do that, just say something in the room and I can just cover that in the watch list, because I do like looking at them. They do end up being more of like something I kind of pay attention to when I do my watch list. So yeah, that's going to do it for the watch list, and thanks for watching.